I think it's essential for all of us to relax for a while, to take a break from everything else, and maybe ask this question: who are we? Are we what we wear? Are we what we eat? Are we what we drink? Are we where we studied? Where we went to school? Went to college? Are we where we work? Are we who we are with in terms of romantic relationships? Are we who we were born to? Are we our assets? Are we what bike we ride? Are we how much we earn? The moment you ask these questions, the moment you ask, who am I? It means you have either lost something you hold so dear or lost yourself. Sometimes both. Unless or until you are met with failures or adversities, you are never pushed to a point where you question who you are, question your self-worth, question what you have as opposed to what others have. Why you are treated differently than others, right? How or why are you so not important, or at least not as important as any other person is? Why is it okay to not extend the same empathy that they extend to anybody else? Why is it any different when it's you? Right? You ask who you are only when you are challenged about your identity, your position in the farther, the general, the larger society, or your position in the interpersonal relationship you are in people's lives, right? Who are we? It's not really about the question itself, right? In an interview, when somebody asks who you are, it's a pretty straightforward question. But when you ask yourself who you are, it's so damn metaphorical. And trust me, no answer you give would ever be enough. Because when you ask the question who you are, you really were not looking for the answers for all the collective set of questions. It's how you can harm yourself. It's how you can put yourself in your place, to remind you where you belong, to remind you that you do not deserve what you think you deserve, to remind you that you are not as important as you think you are. even if not in the larger society, at least in people's lives, right? Who are you? Who am I? Who am I? It's not really an existential question as people put it, right? It's a very practical question. Despite all that you have done, who are you really? Are you a worker? Or do you have any rights for yourself? That is something more than the workers have, something more than labor rights. Can you really take leave from what you're doing? Can you take a break? Who are you? Who really are you? It's too loud, right? Loud. And people choose people to make it all a little quieter, a little less noisy, so they can sleep at peace. But what if people you choose are the ones who are making the noise? What if you can't sleep because people speak? What if the same voices which you once loved are like sirens which pull you to the edge of your boats, the deck of it, and how can you be there for somebody else, right? How can you help anybody else figure out who they are or what they have to do in their lives? That they are important, that they are not dispensable, that they deserve to live, they deserve existence, when you yourself do not know why you exist, you do not know who you are, not anymore. When you live like a cattle, when you live like any other non-living object that people like to have but have no use for, but they still buy it and throw it somewhere and look for it when the necessity comes up, more like dead Christmas trees. People cut off the living trees, they put it up, they throw it out. Maybe I am one such dead Christmas tree, decorated with lights and bulbs and baby Jesus, stars, until it's 27, 28, 30, 31. What happens? Right? Sometimes when you think life wouldn't go this way, the least expected one way in which you thought the life would never go, that's the exact route life takes. Now what can you do? You are like the training instructor sitting next to the driver, and you have to hold on, right? You have to hold on. You can't really jump off. Sucks. You have to wait for your turn to die. You can't just die. You have to wait for your turn to die. Even if it feels like you have to die, that death would be a consolation. You cannot really die until your turn comes. You can't choose self-destruction slowly so people wouldn't suspect anything. So everybody can live in peace. Everybody can be happy. Nobody have to pin things on themselves, right? Why would anybody who's hurt, who's harmed, want to inflict that pain, want to inflict that suffering on anybody else by killing themselves? The abrupt end that leads to a lot of questioning on the living, where the living has to answer, the living has to take up responsibility for a dead person's choice. I wish suicides be left as such, right? If you die, you die. If you die, you die. You make a choice, right? You die. Why should the living suffer? Why should anybody suffer for anybody's choice? You choose to make a choice. Nothing happens out of choice, right? If something happens of choice, it's a crime. And you don't defend the criminal ever, 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 ever. It's a crime. But when something happens with clear consciousness, when nobody is drunk under the influence of any drugs, right? And suicide happens that way. It's not an accident. When anything happens that way, death or life, it's not really an accident. It's a choice. It's a decision. People choose to do that. So why would anybody, any party who's not involved in that entire process would have to suffer? Is it a really tough question? Is it really a question which nobody can find answers for? Why should anybody suffer for anybody else's choice? If everything is built on choice, if everything is free will, why should one person's choice affect another? Why would anybody's death affect another? If I die right now, if I die today, if I die right in front of this camera right now, why should that bother anybody, provided that it's not a murder, it's my choice? Why should that bother anybody? It's a very simple question, right? I mean, if I go on to win something, would people blame themselves for my victory? No. If I choose to live on, would anybody say I live because of them? Yeah, some people do. Some people. But, right. It's not the same as people saying that they are the reason for my death. Right. So why is this hypocrisy? Right. I don't know, if I die, right? If I die, I wish nobody bothers, nobody. I don't mind being fed to the sharks. I don't mind being thrown in the dump yard for crows and eagles to feed on my eyeballs and liver and intestines. I don't really mind. I don't really care. I don't really care for a dignified death when I do not have a dignified life. Life is shit. What's the point of having a 6 foot, 6 feet dug up a grave, a tombstone with my name engraved, or ashes collected in a pot for a stupid ceremony and whatnot? Who cares? Who the fuck cares? But I do wish to be buried because I've consumed so much from this particular earth. And I think everything I have consumed, the nutrients, this, that, even though I have spent them all in a lot of ways, I think whatever is left of me should be given back to earth. The carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle. I wish life was simple. It used to be. It used to be. And nobody can go back to those days. Ever. Right? Right. Every cigarette. I don't have a cigarette. I do, but I don't intend to smoke on camera. Every cigarette, every drink is a slow path towards killing oneself, right? People love when people are honest. People love when people get drama out of honesty. Lies, falsehood, dishonesty has never created much problems, right? But when you choose to be honest, when you choose to come out vulnerable, to let your guards down, both sides, when you let your guard down, honesty comes as the right hook. Let your guard down, right hook. Then comes the baggages, all the unfolded, the repressed baggages that was accumulated over time, and that comes as opening and the uppercut, right? So right hook, the left jab, and a right uppercut. It's a nice combo. That happens. If a man cannot protect what he holds dear, if a man cannot fight for what he loves, if a man cannot make hard decisions, if a man cannot make decisions without caring about his image, if a man doesn't put his foot down and say, this is not right, this shouldn't happen again, stop this. When he sees patterns of problems, then he really have nobody to blame, nobody to point fingers at, because all he can do is question himself that why he let whatever has happened. Fuck. 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 Life isn't supposed to be tough for people. Humans should choose happiness. Like I said, everything is a choice. Everything is a choice, right? You choose to be happy. You choose to be sad. You choose to react in a certain way to a certain scenario. You choose to react in a certain way to a certain circumstance. Everything is a choice. You make the active choice. If it happens outside your choice, it's a crime. But when it's your choice, you cannot make excuses no more, right? Every party should take accountability for whatever it is, right? Fuck this shit. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck this. I wish I bored a lot. A man has to face his failures. He has to take them honestly. The fucking dogs. Every fucking time I want to make a video or whatever the fuck it is, sometimes I feel like putting a bullet right through the skull of those dogs. Sometimes I feel like choking them just to break the vocal cords of the dogs. I don't wish them dead. I just wish they're quiet. I just wish they would stop barking at night. Just the vocal cord. Just the vocal cord. Just that. I don't know if that's a possibility, but just that. Right. It harms nobody. It's not like they want to go hunt. They're idiots. They stand in their ivory towers, they bark at people passing by for nothing. They don't even have to bark to communicate that they are hungry. They bark because they can. They bark because they're annoyed, they're jobless, they got nothing to do. It's all they can do all day long. They bark. They bark and bark and bark. I wish they shut up. And these owners, you call them owners, they get agitated, right? You call them dog parents. Dog parents, they call themselves dog parents and lock the fucking dogs outside in cold winters and they bark. Who the fuck does that? Would they let their children out and lock the door? No, fuck no. When you call yourself a dog parent, when you get a dog, when you grow a dog, you let them in, right? You let them in from cold winters. Dogs feel the winter too, right? You let them in, you let them comfy. Doesn't mean they have to be in your bedroom, but potty train them, let them in, and not let them suffer so they would bark aloud and annoy the fuck out of those who do not like dogs. If those dogs don't bark, I don't care. If the street dogs bark, they are dumb. But it's really upsetting when the domestic dogs, they bark. I'm not really a compassionate person, right? I just want to bring solutions to problems. But the irony is, I do not have one for my own. This is temporary distraction, yes. Everything is a temporary distraction. I'm not really a gentleman. Do you hear the dogs bark? Do you think I should go out and shout back, pelt a stone, ring their bell? Right? No. Sometimes I wish. I'm not really a gentleman when I drink. I just drink, right? That's why I most probably don't go to parties. Another reason for me not going to parties is that nobody would ever call me because I'm below their pay grade. That's a different story. The working class aren't always invited to parties. The parties where people gather to benefit from their intergenerational wealth, to benefit from their networking, right? The networking their parents and grandparents built, which the present generation enjoy without moving anything. I wish I could kill the dog. I am someone who wouldn't hesitate to kill. That's another thing. Yeah. I mean, I would never think twice if I have the power, if that doesn't lead to any consequence, I'd kill anyone and anything, right? Just like I kill those who like not people. I have never killed a human before. I don't think I ever would. I mean, I don't do things that are illegal. But if that is lifted for a day, if it's no more illegal for a day, first I'd be killing the dog, this particular dog, right? Then I would kill another person who is up awake at this hour drinking. An absolute coward who can't cry. An absolute coward who do everything else rather than telling people that it hurts. That it hurts. That it hurts so much. That it hurts. That he would choose to do everything except confronting the hurt. Because he can't cry no more. Maybe someday he would. But you guys don't worry, okay? I will be alive. Let's see if I could smile then.